Hello, everybody.
Hey.
Welcome to our show today.
Yeah, hey, sorry. I was looking at our Facebook page.
We are experimenting with music, which I think is kind of fun. So welcome to Real Raw Health with your hosts, Nikki Burnett of Taste Life Nutrition and Matt Rowe of Parsley Pet. During our show, we are talking about your pet's health, raw feeding, and the health of our pets that bring so much love to us. And also, we're going to talk a little bit about human health and nutrition.
We talk about some human health too. It's pretty relevant.
It crosses so many times. So welcome to Nikki to the show, this week's show. And Nikki, introduce what we are going to talk about today.
You know, it's really silly, but I'm kind of excited about this topic because it's controversial, silly controversial, but it is because what we're talking about is rawhide. And rawhide is one of those things that we just feel, you know, it's something that, I don't know, it's like ingrained in us that rawhide is this amazing treat and it comes from animals and it's healthy and it cleans their teeth. And so what we're here to do is tell you that all of that is false and it's absolutely dangerous. I came across a quote though that I think is really important. It kind of sets the table for us as we move forward in this. And so I wanted to share that with everyone. An educated, informed, and well-researched community of pet owners can only put more pressure on the pet food industry to be better. When pet owners know better, they will only do better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I think if, you know, Nikki, for yourself, if you found out that there were certain foods or things that you were doing for your beautiful pups that was harming them, would you keep doing it or would you stop?
I would stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think all of us would at some level take a look at it from that point of saying, no, this is a danger. Even though I've been told this my entire life, like the veil is opened up to us and we can now make a more informed choice of how to have our dogs be healthy. And rawhide is just one of those that is terrible. I mean, you're talking about bowel obstruction. You're talking about how they manufacture rawhide, what it's made out of. Just because it uses the word raw, don't let
or hide. Yeah. Yeah. So, and that's kind of the point of this is to the best we can break it down for you because, or for anybody who wants to pay attention to this, because some people don't because they don't agree, and that's fine. But we want to break it down so you understand, which is what we want to do for every show, but break it down so you understand why we feel this way, why we've positioned ourselves this way, why we don't recommend it for anybody in any case for any reason. And so you know, if you're good with it, I'll just kind of jump in real quick. And, you know, it obviously comes from a cow. So it comes from the slaughterhouse, all of these things. Well, the cow's dead anyway, and it comes from, so why is it a big deal? The first thing that they have to do, and this is step number one, chemical preservatives, because what's going to happen, the hide is going to break down and get gross because that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to go away. It's not supposed to just get hard and raw, which is not raw, but it's not, it will break down. So they have to have they have to have a way of preserving it, and it's a chemical preservative and it's nasty stuff.
Oh yeah. And to the point that they bleach it.
Yeah.
So, and you know, and right before, and you're not getting the hide of the cow. So when they process a cow and they skin it and they have a hide that comes off that cow, you're getting the middle layers of that hide. The top layers go to the tannery where leather is made. And then the other is that middle layer that they don't use, which is technically, you could call it a byproduct that comes out of that, then, like you said, gets treated multiple times. And most of this rawhide is not made in the United States. It's made in China.
Okay, think about that for a minute.
You think they have less manufacturing or criteria for what is healthy and what is not?
I am afraid of pretty much everything that comes out of China.
Yes. It's just not, it doesn't have the regulation that we have. And they're just after, okay, what can we do? And using the whole animal and selling it. And now you go, oh, they're using the whole animal. But did you know that rawhide can cause choking, gut obstruction, food poisoning. So your dog can actually be poisoned because they have levels of heavy metals that they treat the rawhide with, infection, and the ingestion of all of these toxic chemicals that we are feeding our animal. That's why when you throw a rawhide in the backyard, if you bought one, go throw it away. Just go run out in the backyard, grab it, throw it away, please.
Yeah.
And then, but that's why it doesn't go away. That's why your dog can chew on it for weeks, it seems like, and it doesn't break apart. It's because it's not made to break apart. And then if you're looking at a rawhide, I'm looking at a picture right now and it looks like a bone. It looks like a rawhide bone that's been put together. They actually glue the ends of it to keep it from falling apart.
Yeah.
So now your dog is ingesting glue that has no regulations to it at all.
Yeah, because it's not considered a food. It's not regulated because it's not considered a food. It's considered leather. So it's like in the clothing industry. So then on top of the glue, they have to make it look pretty, not for us or not for the dogs, but for us. So they smoke it or they brown it, which means they're putting coloring on it that's a toxic coloring, and then synthetic flavors. Oh, I wanted to tell you something. You might have read this. I was reading a comment, the people who were commenting on the dangers of rawhide. And one of the comments was, my dog it was obviously, it gets kind of slimy and gross and yucky, had it hanging it was down its throat and in its belly, and then the rest was hanging out. So it's like this whole thing the dog swallowed and the rest was hanging out. So obviously, thankfully, it was hanging out. They could get it out of the dog, but this is why dogs die. It's 25% of dogs come in or die from rawhide.
Yeah.
I think that's the right quote, something like that. It's really high. Why do we want to chance that?
Well, and that is, if the dog is choking on something or has a gut obstruction or something, or bowel, anything that happens and the dog is going through pain, guess where you go? You go to the vet. And the vet's going to fix it, rightfully so, and get it out of their stomach. But you're looking at a $5,000 to $1,000 vet bill just because you're feeding raw, when there's so many other alternatives. When you're really wanting to feed something, like, really, why do you feed a rawhide bone? You want them to chew on something. If you have a dog that's hyperactive, like my Catahoula, all day today was just in our grills all day today, for lack of a better term. And we're just like, just give them something, get them out of our hair. Like, what can you give them on that side? But really, when you're wanting that idea of really just giving your dog something to do, feeding a rawhide is going to have it's all these negative things that can happen as a result of it.
Yeah. So another interesting point that it's just really kind of frustrating is, so we have the rawhide that we can get at the store, and then we have the rawhide chews that we can get at the vet, the dental chews. So they put on a chemical dental something on the vet chews to make it vet approved or something like that. So I don't know what it is, but it's something that's supposed to clean the teeth, but it's a chemical. Yeah.
And like greenies, I've heard, have negative aspects to it. And so really, when those dental chews, they're treating it with something. And you talked about coloring of the bone. So when you see a bone that looks like it's all meaty and fresh, that's red number 40 dot.
Yeah.
That they're putting on.
And what does that do to, I know there are a couple of different ones. I don't remember. It's like the red. I know it's a red that creates ADD, or, the hyper excitability in kids. Isn't it a red?
Yeah. All I know is that never feed it. So,
Besides that,
rawhide, I'm going to read something from petful.com. So, and this was actually written by Dr. Let me get her name real quick. Dr. Pippa Elliott wrote this article on chews. So she says, to make the rawhide look and smell appealing on the pet store shelf, you got to remember, it's for us, not your dog.
Yeah.
It needs to be colored and flavored in the same way. This often involves coatings of chemicals, including titanium oxide, sodium benzoate, and known carcinogens such as FD&C red 40.
Yeah.
So you're just adding another carcinogen to your
Mhm.
dog. And this is something that, you're talking about trying to protect the health of your animal and
Yeah.
even yourself. I mean, you're bringing this into your home. And if that gets on your carpets, if your kids are playing with it, it gets on their hands and all of this stuff, you're basically just introducing a toxin into your home. So when
That's a
there's
great
so
point.
many other
Mhm.
alternatives for feeding a bone to your dog, I mean, you can
Yeah.
do antler. I mean, we fed antler to Leo multiple times. It takes him forever to chew it, but
Yeah.
he doesn't stop because he's trying to get that marrow out of it. And I know from Raw Dog Food Company, I'll buy it's femur. It's not femur bone of a bison, but it's bone of a bison that's been split down the middle so he can more easily get to the marrow inside of
Yep.
it.
Yep.
But he's crunching the ends, and he never eats the whole bone, but
Mhm.
he's getting everything he needs. And one thing too is both of my dogs, teeth are amazing. Even when we take him to the vet, they are like, wow, he doesn't need his teeth cleaned. It's so good. And I'm like, yeah,
Mhm.
because we feed
Mhm.
him a raw diet, a
Yeah.
healthy diet, and we give him
Mhm.
good bones to act as his dental work instead of giving the dental chews that are filled with toxins in its
Yeah.
own.
Yeah. So I have a hypothesis, because
Okay.
what we'll hear a lot coming out of the vet clinics is antlers are dangerous. Don't give antlers because they're breaking teeth. So what I fully believe, and I have not seen research on this, but what I fully believe is that dogs' teeth are, this is a natural thing for a dog to chew on: bones,
Yeah.
antlers, things like that. They love it. Why would they
Right.
do it if they don't just love it? It's good for their teeth. It's good for them. They need to chew. What I fully believe is their teeth are breaking because they're lacking in nutrients because of what we're feeding them, right? So I have
Right.
never had dogs' teeth break, none of my dogs.
Mhm.
And I'll tell the vet, this is what I'm doing, and they're like, be careful with the antlers. You don't want to do the antlers; they'll break their teeth. I don't believe my dogs are depleted in
Right.
anything, because of how well I feed them. And same with you. So I'm assuming you haven't experienced broken teeth either. I think
No,
that that's why I'm sure of it.
well, it's something I teach in my class. When you have a dog that's deficient in calcium and phosphorus,
Mm-hmm.
those two mineral elements work together to create healthy bone structure. And the first place you'll see if your dog's calcium deficient or phosphorus deficient and it can't create that good bone structure is you see tooth decay and you'll
Yeah.
see teeth break or you'll see
Mm-hmm.
teeth fall out. And so in my class, I just say that's an indicator of just calcium deficiency. And so if we don't have enough of it, we're not strong enough, and we don't have the supporting minerals that surround around calcium to help it grow that healthy bone structure, yeah, you're going to break some teeth on some.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think really we need to take it a little bit deeper than that. And I say this, just from what I see in practice with people who believe that they need calcium supplementation, and they may give in their animals calcium supplementation. We need to be really careful with assuming that calcium is the only mineral that's beneficial for teeth and bones, or calcium and phosphorus. There are
Right.
many, many, many cofactors that
Mm-hmm.
go into telling calcium where to go.
Mm-hmm.
And so, with us as humans, if we are missing magnesium, D, phosphorus, or any of these trace minerals, there are
Mm-hmm.
hundreds of trace minerals, and I'll get into that in a second. But if we don't have these cofactors that tell calcium what to do, what's going to happen? It's going to sit in breast tissue and brain tissue and cardiovascular tissue and kidney tissue.
Right.
We've heard of arterial calcification, renal calcification. I mean, that's what in part, right? That's what
Mm-hmm.
this is not allowing calcium where to, calcium doesn't know where to go. So, my clients come in and they're taking calcium supplements, and I tell them, stop. Like, just stop. We need to know your body, who you are and why, before we go and we just take a bunch of supplements that we're told we need to take for strong bones, because it
Mm-hmm.
really is very likely creating a problem, when the problem for us anyway is not usually calcium, it's a cofactor. But I do
Yep.
believe that there can be in dogs, because of the way that they're fed. They probably are more likely to be deficient in calcium and the other minerals and cofactors than we are because they eat, you know, if they're eating kibble, it's not beneficial. One of the things that I do personally to make sure that my dogs are getting all of those trace minerals, because that's not something that we talk about very much, or trace minerals. But
Yeah.
there's a product, it's a trace mineral product in a liquid form, and in their water, every time I replace their water, they're getting these liquid trace minerals in their water. Because my understanding is we have fluoride that is in our water, we have chlorine that's in our water, you know, all of these things are that are put into our water, but minerals are all taken out of our water, which is a problem for us too. So anytime I have my, you know, bottle of soda water here, I add trace minerals to it. And I do it for them too. Yeah. So we just need to be really careful about, I just need to go add a bunch of calcium to my dog when we really need to understand. And it's a beautiful conversion into talking about Parsley Pet because, you know, I mean, that's what it's for. Well, yeah, I mean, that's what it's for, is to truly understand what you need, how much you need, how to get it. Yeah, I mean, it's important.
As you very well know, minerals aren't a more is better perspective. It's the Goldilocks. It's really, you want to get it right in the middle, but all those supporting trace elements and all those supporting minerals that go with it actually play a couple different roles. They remove calcium where you have excess, and they balance it out in the right level. For example, let's take copper and zinc. I mean, too much copper is elevated and poisonous because it doesn't have enough zinc to chelate it out of the system or remove it out of the system to put it back into a level balance. So really, in any diet that you're going to put, it's balance. I mean, there's all these misnomers around a healthy, balanced diet for a dog. And if there's a raw feeder listening to us, they might roll their eyes and say, well, balance and balance. What I'm talking about with balance is if you're going to supply minerals like calcium, doing it as a single source calcium tablet or calcium going into the diet just from one source is really only looking at it from one level. And you're really not going to solve that mineral balance at all and have a potential to be calcium, you know, overabundance of it, and, you know, have the dangers of that play into that. So by balancing a diet that comes into having bone content, organ content, because even the organs being so nutrient dense, they're going to supply the other level of nutrients. I mean, you take a look at phosphorus, comes from muscle meat. So just one thing alone isn't going to solve it. And then when you look at the kibble industry is supplying synthetic nutrients into the diet to try to meet min levels based on AFCO standards. And synthetic is not bioavailable to the body like a whole food source is. So when you get calcium from bone, it's much different than taking your calcium pill.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if they're getting the straight bone, then they're getting all of the minerals and trace minerals that they're supposed to get. It's a natural source for them, which is why they chew on it, why they want to chew on it. And we might have talked about this last week, but I do want to say it again because I think it's really important that a lot of people will, and I have fallen prey to this early on as well, but we'll just go get a bone meal powder, which is a great way of thinking about it. I'm going to get it. It's bone, it's ground up, it's easy. I don't have to worry about it, you know, that kind of thing. But when they're taking the bone from the slaughterhouses, it's often bleached. It's high in fluoride. And so they can be really toxic as well. So you've got to be careful of the source, know what you're getting, or just get the femur bones from the bison that you know is raw and healthy and that they're going to chew on and love and enjoy and is safe for them. And chicken bones. I mean, you know, I know you and I get the chubs that already have the bone, the organ, and the meat in it. And so that makes it easy. But I'll tell you, before I knew that about these chubs that I have now, I went out and I got a grinder and I ground the bone myself because but I'll also tell you, I fed them raw bone as well. These are different dogs and different times, and you got to, you know your dogs and be aware. But I would give them whole chicken leg, raw chicken leg, bone, skin, and everything. And the fat, the skin is not bad. It's good because it's raw, The bone is raw. They know how to eat it. And it's like
Yep.
you said, it's covered in the muscle meat. And so it's protective. That's what they would
Yep.
do in the wild.
Right. It's not like they get to a, if they end up getting a grouse or a chicken or another, fowl, a fowl based item like a duck or a pheasant. If they catch it, it's not like they're going to get to the bone and go, oh, that might splinter, Bob.
Yeah.
You don't want to eat that.
Yeah.
No. They're going to chew on the ends of it and they're going to get it. And you don't see dogs, wild dogs dead in the field because they have a laceration because they ate a chicken bone. No, most of the time with chicken bones is we cook it. And that chicken bone is not soft and it can crack and splinter.
That's a problem.
That's why I love the way that you do it is you're feeding it skin, all meat. I mean, it looks like a chicken leg, I would imagine.
Well, it is. It's a chicken leg.
Yeah.
You just pull it out of the package and give it to the dogs.
And they're getting all of that. They're getting the tendons, they're getting the joints, they're getting all of those pieces with it. But yeah, so you have so many more alternatives to feeding something that is going to keep your dog's teeth clean and keep it healthy and actually supply that calcium than feeding it rawhide. Because you look at rawhide, you're feeding heavily processed and chemically ridden skin of a cow.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's treated at those levels, that's something that you wouldn't want to eat something that had all of those chemicals laced. I mean, if you knew that beef jerky had red 40 in it, treated with bleach in order for it to not have any pathogens, and if you knew your beef jerky was set like that, would you go buy it?
A lot of people do. You got to think about the beef jerky that's sold at the what are those long skinny Johnnies or whatever they are, and it's
Slim Jims?
Slim Jim skinny
Slim
Johnny.
Jims. Oh, if you're in Slim Jims, guys, just do yourself a favor. Just spend an extra buck and buy better beef jerky, which I haven't been able to find like healthy beef jerky unless I make it myself.
So there's that. You can Natural Grocers has some really good ones that I've seen. They're grass fed. Yeah, the whole thing. So
well, and that's the same thing is if you don't want that in your body, if you all of a sudden you are watching this video and you say, oh my gosh, that's what they put in it. Cause just read the ingredients of Slim Jim. It'll kind of turn your stomach a little bit and you'll realize why your stomach gets upset after eating them. Well, imagine what's happening to your dog.
Yeah.
I mean, they're eating this rawhide and chewing it. And if they get a hunk of it in their stomach, I can't imagine that they're going to feel good after a moment like that.
Right. Yeah. Just don't do it.
Yeah. Just do us a favor.
Yeah.
Just go pick up the rawhides out of the backyard.
Yeah. Do yourself a favor.
Yeah. Buy a good raw bone, good femur bone, let them chew on that. It is, if you're worried about the splintering and you're not as adventurous as Nikki is feeding a whole chicken leg yet, buy a femur bone. You'll find them in the frozen section at any pet store. I know I buy a pack of it. It's about $7 for a pack of femur bones. And I get 4 or 5 in there and that lasts me a month. So
yeah. You know your dog. You have to know your dog. If your dog is, a golfer, they just can't eat slowly, then you want to probably not feed full chicken bones. And you also maybe want to start when they're younger. And there are a lot of things that go into it because we have trained them in a sense to just gulp down their kibble, which is dangerous, but probably not going to choke them. Could, but probably not like, gulping down, a chicken leg. So just know your dog, be aware, be careful. But that's why there are dogs that I grind for, and now I, just get it ground at the butcher. But anyway, I hope that this is helpful for everybody because I think it's just really, really important that, there's so many myths about everything, food, disease, treats, the whole thing. So just be aware, be informed, and don't let the dog food companies make you believe that they know better than you do.
They know how to turn a profit.
Yeah.
And they're really looking at it from that angle, which is kind of sad. Like you say, wow, who do I trust at this point? But if at anything, one of my mentor, Casey, taught me that anything new bone that you want to feed, just observe or be with them when they're eating it.
Mm-hmm.
And just listen for the cracks, listen for the splintering, listen to, watch how they're eating it. Do they eat it? Do they gulp it down like you said? And if they're gulping, if they're just eating mass amounts, there's some things I will not feed Leo because he's a gulper.
Yeah.
He wants it in his stomach as fast as he can.
Yeah. There's another thing that I'll do too, because I still like to, I like to give treats. So whether it's chicken feet or chicken wings, or even if it's a chicken leg, I'll take like just a big knife and I'll just cut it in big chunks. It takes, doesn't take any time at all. And I'll just cut it in chunks. And if I feel like I want to feed it that way, I will. And that's totally fine. It's still big chunks. So
right.
Do that too.
Then it works like a champ. So like Nikki said, I hope that everybody watching this, you do your own research on rawhide. Just type in the dangers of rawhide and you'll see thread after thread show up. And just know the source of the information that you're getting it is, look at the ads on the side of the page is, is an indicator for me is if I'm reading an article and all of a sudden a bunch of ads from kibble companies show up, I was like, oh, that's who's promoting you, because they're going to basically write an article that serves their advertisers and where they're getting money from. So really just know the source of where you're getting it from, read a couple of articles. And after the first article you read that's really kind of takes a look at all the dangers of it, all the chemicals they put in it, how they treat it, how they make it. Some of the process, I mean, they're talking about rawhide coming out of China is actually from, as the individual put it, severely brutalized and murdered dogs is how the individual who wrote that article phrased it. But they're basically taking dogs out of China and they're skinning them, and that's where the rawhide comes from.
I've not heard that. That just makes me sick.
Disgusting, because there's no regulation. So wherever they can get it and turn it into a product that they can sell over here in the United States, because we're consumers, they'll do it. I mean, why wouldn't they? I mean, they look at it from that standpoint. So, but as a consumer, you have a choice. You can basically speak with your money, speak with your wallets, just stop buying it. And if we all stop buying it, they'll stop making it, and they'll stop hurting animals, and they'll stop, at some point, stop the manufacturing process and, really get back to more of a whole bone product, which there's a prevalence of, and it's not that much more expensive.
No.
Sure beats an expensive vet visit.
Oh my gosh. Thousands and thousands. Yeah.
Yeah. The amount of money spent. And if your puppy gets cancer, it's not like you're going to be like, oh, well, too bad. No, you're going to treat the cancer. So everything you've been told, question it, because that's where what's been told to you is from your parents and from, society that's been around you for the last, however old you are, is, from that amount of period of time. And a lot of it is, there's a lot of big money and big business that was put into the pet industry. And now, eyes are being opened here in the last 10 years.
Marketing works.
It does. That's why we spend it on it for our businesses. And that's why, because it does work. But we want to market things that are healthy and safe and good for your animal.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Perfect.
So, Nikki, thank you for this topic today.
Yeah. This is a good one. I like it. We might have to do it again just to make sure that we're getting it out there.
Yeah, absolutely. No. We'll hit this point again. So anybody that's watching, if you follow the show, thank you very much for following the show. We're so happy to have you a part of it. And also, if there's a topic you want us to cover, we will do the research. We will look deep into it. And we will come up, and the next Facebook Live we do, which is on Thursdays at 4:00 Mountain Time, we'll talk about it. So all you got to do is just in the comment section of this post right here, just put, I want you guys to talk about X. That's it. That's all we need, and we're off to the races. Look at us as your researchers, and we'll do the work for you. And that's what we love.
We're geeks that way. It's good stuff.
It's really good stuff. So thank you again, Nikki.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt.
Awesome.
All right, everybody, take care. We'll see you soon.
All right, be safe, everybody.
Bye.